How do you usually handle I need to think about it when sellers give you that objection?
The first thing is to acknowledge and disarm. What are some of the questions that you think that'll come up that will need to be answered just so that I'm prepared for that conversation when we talk tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
I sent him the contract and he said, I can't think about this right now because I've got to take my dog to the vet. So what I did, I went on Amazon, I ordered him some pet vitamins, and he that went a long way. Next day he signed the contract. You don't have to be an expert to get results. As long as you have a process that's proven, you'll get results and be able to iterate.
How much money are you gonna make on that one?
Oh yeah, so we're getting that property under contract for $51,000. We already got an offer for $79,000. So we're talking about what, 28 grand?
28 grand.
Yeah.
We're here in Miami interviewing wholesalers, real estate investors, and flippers. What's your name and what do you do?
Watson Saint-Solney. I'm a wholesaler out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, real estate investor and professional salsa dancer.
Whoa.
Yes.
And in the last 3 months, you've closed over 5 deals from online leads.
Yes.
What are the craziest stories? Tell me the most crazy stories with the sellers that you've had to deal with.
I'm dealing with one right now that we're closing that could potentially be a six-figure deal where the squatter actually filled out the form online as a lead. And after taking a look at the deed and the squatter's name, I realized that there's a mismatch, and effectively I went to the house and realized that the squatter was trying to sell me the house because everybody had passed away and he's trying to claim ownership of it. So What I actually did in that situation was look up the homeowner, go to the city, find out who owned it, who passed away, who are all the family members, Ancestry.com, TruePeopleSearch.com, did my Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson investigation and found the last remaining heir living in Maryland.
Wow.
So we put the property under contract and we're working through the actual heir, who's our seller, to now sell the property, and the squatter has no idea what we're doing. So it's going to be pretty interesting when we close that property. Got it under contract for $28,000, selling it for $170,000. So after we pay all the bills, the mortgages and everything on it, should be between 80 and 90 grand spread.
Wow, that's crazy. And what about other deals that you put in the last 6 months?
So we did have a deal where it was listed for $575,000, and just after taking the sellers through the sales process, having them understand that it's more important for you to be moving in with your fiance than to get this high price for your home because that's what you think that it's worth. It was listed for $575,000. We got it on the contract for $400,000, right? And we ended up making $30,000 on the deal.
Nice.
Just by having better conversations and understanding what's the needs. What are the seller's needs? Not what they want, but what do they need to move on? Because sometimes what you want is so extravagant that you'll never get there because it's unrealistic. So how can I help you get what you need so that you can get the solution that you're really looking for? Yeah.
So it was $30,000 wholesale deal where majority of people get $10,000, $15,000, maximum $20,000 deals.
Yeah.
But you found out more than what a regular wholesaler would, which was, what was the entire situation?
Well, the situation was this. He wanted to move to Delaware in order to move in with his fiance and spend time with his kids. Long story short, his mom, his dad, his aunt all died within a 3-month period in 2024. So he genuinely felt as though that his latter days, being in his 70s, would be spent all alone, and he would prefer to actually spend that time with family, because the time you spend with family is time you'll never regret spending, right? Yeah. So it was really honing into that. He had an older dog that he had to take to the vet. I sent him the contract and he said, I can't think about this right now because I've got to take my dog to the vet. So what I did, I went on Amazon, I ordered him some pet vitamins, and he that went a long way. Next day he signed the contract. So I think it's just really a matter of meeting people where they are, understanding their situation, and really being an advocate to help them, not to sell them, but to help them get from point A to point B.
So where majority of wholesalers would only focus on the condition of the property and the surface level motivation, they wouldn't get this type of information because they don't learn how to dig deep. So what are some tricks that you've learned to dig deeper?
It's all about getting your prospects from price-based thinking to results-based thinking. Why are they on the call? So one question that I absolutely love asking is, let's say everybody comes in at the same price, right? And you're getting the same offer. How would you know who to go with, right? You would know who to go with based on if you trust them, right? If you believe that they can follow through on what they say, and whether or not you like the person, right? So just having them think about their results and you positioning yourself and your offer in a way that helps them achieve that goal, that's the biggest difference.
Nice. And all of these leads were from Facebook or Instagram ads?
Pretty much all of them from Hustle Media, and I'm also working agents as well. So through John Lalonde's Wholesale Academy, through the NAPQ method with Jeremy Miner, they have a method in which you can really connect with agents and have agents send you deals. So out of the 5 deals, 4 of them came from inbound marketing through Meta, Facebook and Instagram, and we actually had one really great deal closed through our agent outreach.
That's always good. Having an outbound organic marketing channel combined with the ads.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in inbound marketing though. It's a different conversation, because they need your service. You're there to help them and not the other way around. When you're doing outreach and cold calling, right, you're asking them for their business, right? Yeah. But when they're doing inbound and they're actually expressing interest by filling out a form, they need you more than you need them. Yeah. It changes the dynamic of the conversation.
Let's do a little bit of a role play. Let's say I'm a lead that came in and booked an appointment for, I don't know, tomorrow at 2 p.m. But you see my lead, my information. So call me and let's do a quick role play.
Ring, ring.
Hey, who's this?
It's just Watson over at the Covenant Real Estate Investment Group. It seems like, Esteban, you filled out a form online to sell your property at 123 Main Street, just in case you really wanted to move on from it. Is that correct? Are we in the right place?
Yeah, man. Just see a bunch of ads now about you guys and stuff. But what's the offer that you're gonna give me?
We'll get to that. I mean, that's a great question, and that's actually why I'm on the call. I just have to know a little bit more about the property condition and maybe your situation, just to make sure that I can actually help you out. And this call is pretty basic. It's just really for me to get to know you in the scenario, just to see if we can work with each other here. So tell me a little bit about the house. Do you live there? Are you renting it? Is it vacant?
No, I currently have a tenant in there, someone that lives right there.
Nice,
Honestly,
nice.
I'm not making a lot of money. And
you're losing money on an investment?
I mean,
stop it.
I mean,
come on, man.
I try.
We don't do that around here.
I tried to make money, but I ended up doing a favor to someone else, basically, and it's just been a little bit of an issue handling all of that stuff.
Issue?
Right?
How do you mean issue? Talk to me. What is the issue?
I mean, look, man, there's a lot of stuff that has to go through, keeping a rental, and then also, I need to get actual money, and this is not bringing me money.
It's not so you're losing money on this property.
100% losing.
Yeah. So I mean, outside of just losing money on the property, what's keeping you? Why are we on the phone as opposed to just doing what everybody else does, putting it on the MLS with a realtor and on the market? Why are we even having this conversation?
Well, I did try agents, but I mean, they said you gotta put some, put some work, give some love. And I was like, you know what, sure, I can put some of the savings that I have, but at the end of the day, I just want to
Just want to get rid of it.
I want to get rid of it, but at the same time, I want to get the most out of it, because I've put a lot of work in there.
Yes.
And honestly, I need money to do a few things.
Absolutely. And how long has this been going on?
It's, dude, I don't know. I mean, I've had this tenant for maybe 2 years now, but
so you've been losing money for 2 years?
Yeah.
I mean, property. You must be rolling in bread, my guy. I mean, I know we're in Miami. I mean, you're living it up right here, but damn,
at the beginning, it was me doing a favor, but then it became a burden.
It became a burden, yeah.
And also, I fell into this thing that allowed me. That made me kind of get more money. I did a bad investment, and I did bad things, a few things that now I need the money. Okay. So I can't just afford keeping it. You can't
afford keep it. Yeah. So obviously you want to, sell the property so that you can stop bleeding out cash. Yeah, and most of the sellers that come to us who are investors, they're very savvy with their money, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So, and that's why I'm here, so I can help you move on to the next project that you got going on. And then I would go into figuring out what your solution is, what you're going to do with the money. And then now that we have that pain.
Yeah, because I haven't told you just yet what are you
going to do, right? Yeah. So then we will start off with that pain, right? And how's that impacting you on a regular, everyday basis? And then I'll talk about what do you plan on doing with the money? You would tell me then what's your objective with the funds that you're going to get once you sell this one, and then that creates the gap. Yeah. And now that I have the gap, I can craft my offer based on what you said in terms of not wanting to have the tenants in there and losing money on a regular basis, and then connect that to what you want to do with the money afterwards, and then boom, we're solving a problem.
Yeah. Okay, that's good, man. I really like that.
That's how we do it. That's
what NEPQ, right?
NEPQ, yeah. John Lamont, Jeremy Minor.
Jeremy Minor, the guy with the good hair.
Here's the beauty of a sales process. You don't have to be an expert to get results. And I think most wholesalers and salespeople, they really think they have to know it all, right? But as long as you have a process that's proven, you'll get results and be able to iterate as you go along. So the beauty of my journey is that I'm able to close deals as I get better, right? So I wouldn't even call myself an expert, but I'm a closer for sure.
Yeah, I heard that this morning because you're staying here with us. Yeah, you got a property on the contract yesterday.
Yes,
yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So what was the situation of the seller, and what's the deal size now?
Okay, so the situation with the seller is that she inherited a home. It was distressed, and she hadn't lived there for about 4 years. So
this is Meta ads?
Meta ads.
Instagram, Facebook?
Yes, okay. Instagram, Facebook. She saw the ad, she filled out the form, and essentially I called her and went through the sales process, booked an appointment to go see the property. And I was, out of all the online ads that she filled, because that's a thing. When sellers fill out online ads, you're not the only ad that they reach out to. So then that's where your sales process becomes key. So I followed up with her right away. We booked an appointment to go see the house. Out of all the ads, I was the only person that actually came and saw the house. And then I made an offer at the house, but she says, I need to think about it. So then it was the process of really following up with her. And literally, while I was here in Miami, we had our first conversation last week. Yesterday, while I was here in Miami, we got back on the phone, and it became very clear that she wanted to sell the house in order to probate her grandmom's estate because the property was in her grandmom's name, and she hadn't done that yet. So I positioned my offer in a way that can help her probate her grandmom's estate because her grandmom has other assets. So her selling the property is not just to make money on the property, it's just so that she can work through the probate process to then have access to her grandmom's assets that are in banks, that are in investment accounts. So during that last sales call, when we got the property under contract, I just focused on the fact that, hey, look, not only you signing this deal is going to help you sell this property that's in distress that you have no interest in living in, but it's going to give you access to all of your grandmom's assets, which was very much key. So she said, once I sent her the DocuSign, she's like, all right, where do I sign? I'm like, well, don't you want to go over the agreement to sell? Do I get a copy? Yeah. I'll just sign it. And that's the power of taking them through a sales process and connecting your offer to their end result. Yes. Because it wasn't about the property. It was all about getting access to her grandmom's assets, and she just signed. Yeah. Just because what I was offering her connected to the result that she was looking for.
That's awesome. How much money are you gonna make on that one?
Oh yeah, so we're getting that property under contract for $51,000. We already got an offer for it for $79,000. So we're talking about what, 28 grand?
28 grand.
Yeah.
She's getting lunch.
Yeah, 28 grand easy.
All right,
but with that, what comes with that is the ability to solve that problem. So she doesn't have the money to probate her grandmom's estate. So I have connections and partnerships with attorneys, and I just hire them. It's going to cost me a couple grand, but I hire them, they go through that process, take them through it, and they're able to serve the seller in a way that the seller couldn't serve themselves. Right, which makes my offer that much more valuable.
Yeah. So how do you usually handle I need to think about it when sellers give you that objection?
Well, first things first, the objection I need to think about it is a smoke screen. right? There's something behind it that either they're not comfortable with telling you, or they haven't, something that they haven't sorted out yet or figured out yet, which is why they say that they need to think about it. So the first thing is to acknowledge and disarm, right? Acknowledge it. You know what? Selling a house is a really big deal. I understand that you might want to think about it. And the next thing is to book that future appointment to say, hey, look, all right, well, within the next 24 to 48 hours, let's connect so I can give you some time to think about it. And then we can pick up the conversation from there. So that would sound like, hey, look, yeah, definitely understand that you want to think about it. When would be a good time within the next 24 to 48 hours that we can connect after you think about it in order for us to move the conversation forward? And then from there, once they book that time, you would say, all right, great, it's on my calendar, it's on your calendar. And by the way, when you are having questions in your mind, what is it that you think that will come up? What are some of the questions that you think that'll come up that will need to be answered just so that I'm prepared for that conversation when we talk tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever they say at that point, that's the real objection. And you're still on the phone. You booked a future appointment, you disarmed them, they feel like they're gonna have a conversation later, and then at that point that they feel disarmed and you're about to go away, then you hit them with that question, and now you get the real objection behind what I want to think about, and that gives you the opportunity to really tackle that in that moment.
You'll be able to see the link to the 7-level NPQ school community.
Yes, 100%.
On the description below. So if you ever want to learn sales properly from like an expert like Jeremy Miner has created NPQ, so
Yes.
an expert like John Land that brought it to the real estate space, there's a description below.
100%.
And if you're looking for motivated sellers, leads from Google or Instagram or Facebook, there's also a link in the description below. You'll be able to find that. Follow Mr. Watson
At i.m.watson on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram, yeah.
Tell them how you close deals.
Hey, salsa. We
Let's
could do that
go.
Cuban salsa, we could do that
Colombian,
New York
Colombian.
mambo, hey. We can do all of that.
Let's do it.
Oh, that was fun.
Okay, that's good.
That was fun.